Hey, what is going on, guys? Matt Coop here, aka MODC Architecture, and welcome back to another video. So today what I was going to be talking about really is, I suppose, the pros and cons to architecture, or really it's sort of what I wish I'd known before going into architecture. Now, just a precursor, I love it. It's so fun. I've sort of learned all these things in my time, and hopefully it'll make your time as an architecture student easier, because it's coming up to that period where you sort of need to start thinking about your universities. You need to start thinking about what you're doing if you're in lower or upper sixth or year 12 and 13. So yeah, hopefully this video really helps you decide what you want to do and whether architecture is right for you. So what I sort of wish I knew that I was getting into is, firstly, it's incredibly hard work. There's no sugarcoating it. It's a lot of hours. However, saying that, well, the hard work will pay off, basically. It allows you to be creative. It's the design course, I suppose, which arguably keeps the most amount of doors open for you as a design student or as a sort of designer. You know, you can go into graphic design, you can go into animation, you can go into interior design, obviously architecture, interior architecture. The list is endless, to be honest. It can really help nurture your fine art if you wish to choose that sort of style for your architecture drawings. It's ridiculous how much you can do with architecture. So I would always encourage people to take architecture as their undergraduate degree and then maybe specialize in masters. But architecture just allows all those doors to be open for you. So secondly, there's an incredibly fast learning curve to architecture. You know, there's a bunch of sort of drawing techniques and types that you need to learn. For example, the plan, section, elevation. They're just your three basic drawing types. You've got axisymmetric sections, etc., perspectival drawings, 1-point, 2-point perspectives, all of this stuff which you need to sort of understand by the end of your first year, I suppose, going into second year, because I didn't understand them in my second year, or at least sort of towards the back end of my second year. I still really didn't know how to draw a plan or a section that well, but that's because arguably my university didn't really help with that, but that's fine. It was super important. So what I would encourage you to do is focus on that and really, really get to grips with how to do these drawings. Thirdly, what can happen in architecture is sleep deprivation. That can be a really big issue in architecture for a lot of students. You never go a year without sort of maybe having one all-nighter or two all-nighters or something like that. The point is that shouldn't happen. If you manage to work smart, then you shouldn't have to do these long nights where you're up till 4 or 5 in the morning, you get a couple of hours and think, right, let's go again the next day, because that doesn't work. It's incredibly difficult to keep up that sort of work environment and work ethic, and it's also unhealthy. So you shouldn't do that. However, there are ways I sort of dealt with these situations. So, for example, like I said, work smart, not hard. With the architectural drawings and terminology, to keep a glossary of architectural terminology that you hear, so you can just quickly reference back to it. You always have it on your computer or your laptop ready, so that you don't have to sort of keep constantly Googling things, and then suddenly those couple of minutes that you spend Googling things can just add up throughout the day, and then that makes you stay up later, which gives you a bit more sleep deprivation, and so it's sort of like a vicious cycle, but you get what I mean. A big thing as well is to, when you're sort of learning to work smart and not hard, is to sleep smart, I suppose, is the way you could put it. I mean, knowing when to go to bed, because you can get caught up. You're there at 2 a.m. You're thinking, oh, but if I just get this drawing done, then I'll have finished everything. I'll be good for tomorrow. Won't have to do as much, and I'll be just as energized. No, that won't happen. So what I would say is make sure that you sort of give yourself a bedtime. I normally try and stop around 10 p.m. like as a cutoff. Like, no way am I doing any more work past this point, as a rule of thumb. It used to be a lot later, and generally I try and finish before my dinner, which is around 7:38. It's just important to have that downtime and wind down before you go to bed, then get your 8 hours, and then wake up at like 7, 8 a.m. the next morning. And then you can go again, but you're refreshed. It's so important. It's so underrated, having a good night's sleep. You'd be surprised. The next thing that I would look to sort of talk about is how to deal with a bad review. So as an architecture student, you're going to have these project reviews. You're going to be standing in front of, or you're going to be sitting behind a camera, presenting to a sort of a Teams or Zoom call of tutors that have been brought in from external companies or universities, etc. and you're going to have to present to them about your project, and that will happen in the first, second, and third term, each review getting more and more important. There are two ways to deal with a bad review, because everyone will have a bad review. If you don't have a bad review, then fair play. I couldn't do it. I've had many a bad review in my time. I'm not having as many now. Two ways to deal with it. One is to get on the work straight away. If you get on working on that on those comments from the review straight away, then you're feeling energized about what the tutor said, and what the tutor said makes sense, and you just want to get on with it straight away. That is absolutely viable. I've done that a few times. However, what I've found works better, or perhaps it works better for me, is I take the day to just think about it and really sort of scrutinize what the tutor said, and think about the project as an entirety, and go through sort of each element of the project and think about what the tutor said in relation to each project element. It's just to be analytical and to not jump into things too quickly, because if you jump into things too quickly and then do the wrong thing, and then it can get worse and worse and worse, and the project sort of gets lost. So just take the time. You'd be surprised what half a day of thinking can do for your project, and relax, because you'll have worked incredibly hard to get the work done for that review. And it's okay. I'm here to tell you, it's okay to take that sort of half a day off. But of course, on the flip side, there are great project reviews. Great project reviews are like they're great. They just inspire you to do more work and just to really kick on. And that's what I would always encourage you to do. If you've had a good project review, you can think about what the tutor said. Maybe you think about it a bit less time, and then just get stuck into it. You just want to crack on and smash it again and be even better for the next project review. And hats off to you if you have a good project review. Well done. And smash it in second term. Hopefully you do the exact same or even better. I'll move on. So be prepared to have tutors that will give you a hard time. Architecture can be really unforgiving in that sense. You can have a tutor that always expects too much of you as an undergraduate. So the way that you can deal with these tutors who are expecting this ridiculous quality work is to look on Pinterest. Pinterest is your absolute best friend. It's got so many incredible drawing styles and fantastic drawings that you can inspire or get inspiration from to help with your own work. So make sure that you look at Pinterest. Another thing to do is look at the works of the likes of CJ Lim, Superstudio, Nema Studio. Some really cool speculative drawings come out of their work, and CJ Lim is always obviously an incredible architect. I actually have one of his books here called Inhabitable Infrastructures. It's a fantastic book, not sponsored obviously, but there are just some incredible drawings, sort of this kind of thing, which is like, there's obviously potentially no relevance to your specific project, but the drawing style could just really kick those sort of imaginative ideas and creative sort of cogs in your brain, get them going. So make sure you do that. I'd keep a logbook of all your research as well. If you keep a logbook of all your research, you can reference it throughout the year, and it can help you at any point. You never know. And you can also present it as sort of like this nice book at the end of the year, and that can really interest tutors to see sort of what your research process was like. And finally, look at students' work from the year above you, or 2 years above you, depending on how ambitious you want to be. But I'd always point people in the direction of the AA Projects Review and the Bartlett's Projects Review as well, because the drawings that come out of those schools obviously are incredible. However, on the flip side, again, having a fun tutor is awesome. Having a tutor who is chill but have high standards is sort of like your best of both worlds. You can have a joke with them, but then they're just really fun. So I've had it in the past 3 years, and it's really caused my work to dramatically change for the better, only for the better. And so the big thing is, when you're getting into a studio with a tutor, I find, is that you need to like the tutor. You need to have that good relationship with the tutor, sort of bounce a few jokes off them maybe, and just sort of have a good relationship with them. Because if you have a bad tutor, or not necessarily a bad tutor, but just a tutor that you don't get along with, or they don't get along with you, it's incredibly hard to do well in the studio, to be honest. it's amazing, but it really is, because you spend so much time talking with that tutor and trying to get ideas off them and presenting to them. It's really important to have a positive relationship with them. Just make sure that you talk to your tutors before you select the unit. If you have that option, you should have that option. The next big thing is costs. Now, it's an unexpected element of uni life in general. It's an unexpected area of architecture life especially. You've got printing, materials, computer stuff, drawing equipment, and subscriptions. In terms of drawing equipment, you've got your pens, your pencils, your Rotarings, your drawing boards, or your paper. In terms of your computer, you've got a computer to buy, and then perhaps if you, like I've just had to start upgrading my memory and stuff like that to make sure that it can run with certain things, because I've started working with Unreal Engine. So it's all just an ongoing cost thing. In terms of printing, if you, I suppose, have the misfortune of having to print your entire portfolio, that can be like £150 to £200 down the drain just there. I think I printed like 40 sheets of this sort of like really nice A1 wallpaper type thing. It was about £4 per sheet, so 40 times 460 quid just down the drain in one printing session. It hurts a lot. It's bad. But nowadays, actually, we're presenting more and more online, so costs are coming down. It's a good thing that costs are coming down. However, I feel it's a tough thing to do to present on the computer. I'm going to do an entire video on how to present on computer, or at least how I found it best to present on computer versus how to present to your tutors just face to face. But sort of, I suppose, with everything that I've said, to conclude, I find architecture so fun. I think when you research and create a meaningful project, it is just sort of like the most rewarding thing when you are able to follow your passions and allow it to manifest into a design project that you're doing for university. So your studying doesn't even feel like work. It feels like sort of like a pastime, like it's just fun. The idea of architecture for me is that it's something that I want to do for the rest of my life. I don't feel like I'm working a day of it, to be honest. So what I would encourage you to do is to try and strive to have the job or to study the course that will set you up in the future for you to not feel like you are working a day. Now, it's completely fine to not know what you're doing or what you want to do, because I'm in the minority that I've sort of known what I wanted to do for a while, but a lot of people, the vast majority, have no idea what they want to do in their undergraduate, so just go into something and try it out. And architecture is a fantastic thing to try out, because you cover all aspects of things. You cover hand drawings, you cover graphic drawings, you cover 3D modeling, you cover sort of critical thinking, analysis, etc., stuff like that. It's an incredibly versatile degree to do, and I would really encourage people to get into it, because it's super fun as well at the end of the day. Like I said, I've done drawings, I've done projects on sustainability, on football, on theme parks, sort of inspired by Universal and Disney. And then I'm currently doing something which is sort of like creating a location for people to create new building materials for a better tomorrow, that kind of thing. So it's really fun, it's really imaginative, and I would really encourage you to do it. So yeah, that's about it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this pros and cons, things I wish I knew before I started architecture, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.